In the few days after the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the formal announcement that Prince Charles would be king at age 73, I paused to marvel how the new king had been preparing his whole life for this very moment, materially, spiritually. He begins his reign carrying with him the storied past of family and country. And I wonder, what internal shifts has he made and will have to make, not only to carry on after his mother, but to step out on his own anew and with a renewed sense of purpose and service. We commoners also face our future anew. Perhaps we too have been preparing our whole life for this moment. Today, the world is born again, and we are grateful for this new beginning, the opportunity to reanimate our passions and purpose not only for ourselves now, but to leave an enduring legacy for our descendants. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. Words put in the mouth of Alexander Hamilton by Lin-Manuel Miranda only a few years ago might well have been a nod to the Talmudic legend of Honi the circle maker, who witnessed the planting of a carob tree that would not bear fruit for 70 years. The man planting the tree explained that for him, the whole world felt like that carob tree planted by his ancestors. He was the beneficiary of the past and was determined to provide something for the future. Honi fell asleep, and when he awoke, he saw another man picking the fruit from the tree that was planted when Honi fell asleep for some 70 years. That man explained that he was the grandson of the original tree planter. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. Such legacy work can begin for us at Rosh Hashana each year, and as we emerge into the reality of endemic life in 2022, choosing to embrace life amidst so much difficulty is no easy or small task. It has been an exhausting year, and our ability to plan and anticipate the future has been undermined and compromised. It all makes me wonder about human progress, and will life actually ever get better? I look at my children becoming who they are yet to be. I look at my parents, hoping, telling them that they must live forever. And I feel the passage and the pressure of time, and I've begun to think deeply about what might remain when I am no longer here. What are my seeds that I plant that I will never get to see? Time and time again during these Yamim Noraim, these high holy days, we are gently reminded, Zochreinu lechayim, let us be remembered for life, to grab hold of the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, to affirm our place in the Sefer HaChaim, the book of life, to reignite our sense of why that is available to all of us. A full life, a meaningful life, one that is rooted in something larger than the individual. To be clear, we do not become great or memorable because of some singular or heroic action in our lifetime. Judaism offers the idea that because each of us stands on the shoulders of those who came before us, we are called to the Torah with our names and those of our parents. Our ancestors who came from elsewhere planted seeds in a garden they would not live to see. And though we may not be leaving our homeland for a better life for our children, we still make similar choices to plant, knowing that it isn't for us, which brings meaning to our life. To this end, the new year offers us the chance to invite emotion and intuition and awe back into our lives and into our planning and decision-making as we chart the year to come, but even more so, as we think about all that we have experienced and learned and witnessed. In the words of Ari Wallach, a futurist and author of the brand new book which captivated me in the month of Elul, Long Path, Becoming the Great Ancestors Our Future Needs, we must cultivate what he calls transgenerational empathy, a connection to our past, the lives lived by our ancestors, and an attempt to look beyond our own lifespan into a distant future that we can hardly imagine. 70 years in the lives of the rabbis was an eternity. It is a single lifespan for us. As we've done for thousands of years, we're here together in community to support one another as we, like the tree of life, grow deeper and taller, the promise of a better year just within our grasp, and perhaps the promise of a better future too. We seek tshuva, a return, and an answer to how we understand our development as contributing to our unknown future based on those who came before us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechayanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you who has given us life, who has sustained us and brought us forward to this time. The newness of our lives is deserving of Shechianu as much as the new year we begin to embrace today. We human beings are legacy-making machines. It's all in the small rituals and the habits and the big stories of history and memory where we find the gratitude needed to move forward. Back in the spring, I facilitated an important conversation among Gesher families, parents, around the why of Jewish life. Participants shared that their connection to the past and history and the desire to pass on to the next generation the same sense of identity and pride and belonging and joy that they received was their why. In the words of author Simon Sinek, a why is the sum total of who we are, our experiences of life, how we were raised, what we got from our parents, from our family, from our friends that made us who we are. Our why is the thing we give to the world. Our lives offer us opportunities to live in balance with who we are or who we are not. The why is the fundamental core of what inspires us, the spark that drives us, and what we give to the world over time may not change. In fact, it probably doesn't. Even in a time of crisis, if anything, crisis reveals our why to us because we can focus on what's really important and discern what is the background noise of our lives. The Slonim Rebbe, known as the Netivot Shalom, offered such an invitation more than 200 years ago. He said, each and every human being is unique. From the creation of humanity on, one person cannot take on the work of repair that is intended for another. We must uncover the unique call of each year, each day, each hour, addressed to each one of us specifically. These truths constitute the great foundation for each person's responsibility in the world. We must acquire true clarity about Ma Adonai Elohecha Shoel Me'amecha. What does Adonai, your God, ask of you? You in particular. There is no forcing or demanding that any of us discover or share our why. But what does it mean to even wonder what it is, especially in the context of family and community? Because if on Rosh Hashana we are asked to be Zochreinu L'chaim, to be remembered for life, then we must, in the words of Deuteronomy chapter 30, Uvacharta b'chayim lema'an tichyeh, to choose life in order to really live. The Israelites didn't know what they would encounter in the promised land any more than you or I know what tomorrow or the coming year will bring. But their connection to something bigger than themselves is often what sustained them as they made their way through uncharted territory towards a promised land. Have you ever wondered what or where is your promised land? Is it just a place? Or might it also be a way of being? Ari Wallach says we need to wrestle with these questions about the future we want as opposed to the one that just washes over us, and we need to do it together. And while we are the descendants of those intrepid travelers, what we often do not give thought to is that we are somebody else's great ancestors. Just put yourself in that moment of being someone's great, great ancestor. How do we build that identity to ensure that hundreds and hundreds of years from now, our descendants will be telling our stories, learning from our example, and making choices based on their understanding of the past as well as their orientation towards the future? The choices and the actions we take in our lives about the world and the way that we treat one another matter now more than ever. We are taught in Deuteronomy to see our choices that are put before us, the blessings and the curses, life and death. And while we are making the choice to live, we are also living with limitations. It is not an all or nothing proposition, but an orientation that makes distinctions, that brings meaning and grounding. It is in the finding and the deciding our why that we may indeed discover what we hope will be remembered by our great, great, great grandchildren. About our values and our valuation that we assign things. Judaism pushes us to be the great ancestors that our future generations need us to be. As Jews, we are in dialogue with the past all the time. Jewish time is a continuum forward and backward, present. Just look at a page of Talmud, generations of teachers talking to and about one another, horizontal, vertical conversations with contemporary students seeking to understand the past, what they think now, and what might life be like in the future. The idea of the future alone is really only 400 or 500 years old. If we were in Europe in the year 1400, the circles of life were set. There was no anticipation. No transformational change to be imagined that was forthcoming. And while the way we think about the future now is almost always through the lens of technology, Judaism offers us the idea of a world to come, not just in grand gestures, but in the small acts that Jewish practice teaches is for a future that we cannot yet see. According to the Midrash, the world didn't stand until the creation of tshuva, the repair and the self-correction that are built into the bedrock of creativity and forward thinking, repairing the past, building towards a more just pathway of the future. And that evolution, that critique, that rebuke built into this system is we rely on to understand, in the words of the angel to Hagar, "Ei mizevat ve'ana telchi." Where have you come from? And where are you going? We know that Judaism commands us to self-correct for the values that matter most. All human created in the divine image. Justice, accountability, tshuva, peace, compassion, love, oneness, all in the service of uvacharta v'chayim. Choose a full and meaningful life that is rooted to something larger than yourself, that connects you to humanity, lema'an tichyeh, for the sake of living. So what shifts might you make as we head into this year? What have you glimpsed of the last few years that have shown you what is really important and to what end? What do you value? Is your time, your money, your resources given equal billing? Are you able to strike a balance between work and family? How much effort do you give those things? And do you notice when you are out of alignment? And then what do you do about it? Tshuva is turning onto the right path, asking, am I anywhere near it? Am I striving towards the why I have set for myself? Again, the Slonim Rebbe asks us to continue to consider all of this deeply. And what are the paths designated for each one of us according to the root of our soul and our individual personality at each season and at each day that bring us closer to oneness? It is imperative that we uncover our individual role and our goals, or else we will wander without a sense of direction or destination. B'Sefer Chaim Bracha V'Shalom, in the book of life and blessing and peace. Our past, our present, our future are not separate chapters, but are on one glorious continuum. May we choose life for its own sake and the sake of our future selves that we can only imagine. Shana Tova U'Metuka, may our journey of renewal lead us to be the ancestors that the future needs.